Good morning everyone and welcome to our Toowoomba Grammar School online boarding tour. My name is Jim Noble and I'm the Director of Boarding here at the school. We proudly have nearly 300 boarders here living at Toowoomba Grammar School, and it's my pleasure today to show you through our boarding houses and explain to you a little of how our boarding care works. So let's go inside. We're heading inside Boyce Taylor Boarding House. So last week, some of you were tuning into our live experience where I showed you through Corfe Boarding House. So Corfe is the boarding house where we have our Year 7 and 6 boarders. So today we thought we'd show you another boarding house. So Boyce and Taylor House is home for around about 100 boys who are aged between Year 8 and Year 12. And the boys who are in Boyce or Taylor House remain in this house for the whole 5 years. So we're in the foyer of the boarding house at the moment, which is the place where the boys come and go, and parents will arrive to take their sons on leave or when they're visiting. We're going to have a look initially at our prep facilities. So one of the challenges of being a boarder and living away from home is going to be managing schoolwork, completing homework, working on assignments. So we're very lucky here at Toowoomba Grammar that we have some great facilities to support the boys with their schoolwork outside of hours. So come and have a look at our prep room. You can see that our prep room is set up very much like a classroom. So there are 2 boys per desk. There's a seating allocation in our prep room, so boys have a spot where they sit. The boys come into our prep room each night through the week, and also on Sunday nights, which are the times when they do their prep. Each time that the boys are in here, there are 2 boarding staff members who are looking after them in this room. We also have an academic tutor on every night when there is prep. So a tutor is one of our teachers from the day school or an external person with skill who comes in who is able to assist the boys with their schoolwork. So that will happen in here where the academic tutor will move around the room helping boys as they need, but also on occasions groups of boys will head with the tutor into one of our meeting rooms, which I'm about to show you, where the tutor can do some extension work, prepare them for an exam and other things. So we'll have a look at a couple of our meeting rooms. You can see in here, we're very fortunate to have these rooms. They're very much a breakout space for our boarders, that if they need to work with others in a group, or as I said, if they need to get the help of one of our tutors, this room is a great space for that to happen. The foyer on this ground floor is also obviously a space where the boys can have some recreation. So pool tables, table tennis tables are used every morning and every afternoon, and quite a bit on the weekends as well by boys in both houses. So a great facility and a lot of fun for the boys to be had down here. One of the other challenging things, I guess, being a boarder is to have the opportunity to go out on leave occasionally. And I wanted to talk with you briefly this morning about how Toowoomba Grammar manages the leave of our boarders. We don't believe in placing a quota or a maximum number of times that boys can go out on leave. Most of our boarders are from rural properties, and they don't go on leave much as it is, but we do use an online system, which you can see over here, where all of the boys in Taylor House are on the screen here. And this system allows us both to manage their leave, but also to manage the location of the boys. So as an example, one of the things that we will do is that when the boys come in their boarding with us, we teach them and explain to them the importance that if they leave the building to go anywhere, they need to let us know where they're going. So this system here allows a student to come in and to use the touch screen to change their location. So for instance, if this student was heading off to training in the afternoon, he would come down to the screen and on his way out the door, he would change his location to training. Something as simple as that indicates to the staff that he's left the building and that's where he's gone. And then the same thing would apply when that boy comes back from training. So on his way back into the building, he would sign himself back into the boarding house. So that's one aspect of our system. The other aspect is that when boys would like to take leave with family or friends, obviously any leave that boarders take has to be approved by parents. So through our online system, parents receive an email and you're able to approve your son's leave. As soon as the parents approve it, it goes to the housemaster, and the housemaster is then able to approve the process at his end. And then it comes to the time and the boys will be able to go on leave, and they will find a staff member and be signed out using this online system here. So it's our way of managing both the whereabouts of the boys, but also their leave movements as well. We're going to head upstairs and have a look at some rooms and some other aspects of this great boarding facility. So ladies and gentlemen and boys, where we are here is in between both Boyce and Taylor houses. So in this direction down here is Taylor House, and where we're going to be heading today, we're going to be taking a walk through Boyce House, which is in the other direction. So Boyce House runs down this way and Taylor House runs down in the direction where the camera is just facing. Another thing that is really of interest to a lot of families is where do the staff live? So the staff who look after the boarders after hours. So one of our beliefs is that the main pastoral carers for our boarders need to be living and being around where their boys are at all times. So you can see just behind me the Boyce House Masters residence and also the Taylor House Masters residence, which is attached to the boarding house, which allows the staff to be close by to the boys, which helps in terms of their care and also managing them on a day-to-day basis. So we're going to head down and have a look through Boyce House. You can see lots of great photos and other information, things like the duties that the boys will do on a daily basis, and lots of other things to make the house more like a home. So if we head down this way, and we'll be having a look in this dorm here today, and you can see one of our rooms. So with our boarding house rooms at Toowoomba Grammar School, all of our rooms are exactly the same size. So it doesn't matter which boarding house you're in, the facility, your room is exactly the same. So you can see that the boys get a bed, they have a cupboard that they're allocated where they're able to keep all of their belongings, and they have a desk which they can study on. For the younger boys, of course, they study down in our prep room downstairs. You'll also notice that each room has got a curtain on it. So we believe that one of the most important things that our boys can gain from a boarding experience here is the ability to get along with all different kinds of people. So rather than having a door where they can close themselves off to the world, a curtain allows them the privacy that they need to get changed or when they need some quiet time, but also they still have to have conversation and interact with all of those boys who live in their wing. You can also see in our rooms various other things. So boys are encouraged to make the room their own, so with photos of home and photos of things that they're up to. And you can also see rosters and other information there, which helps to organise the boys on a day-to-day basis. As we head down, we might have a look at one of our bathrooms. I'll let the camera go first to have a look in the bathroom here. You can see our bathrooms are very modern. All of the toilets and shower cubicles have doors on them. And there are different showers and toilets allocated to the different age groups. So our boarders who are in Year 11 and 12 would have different showers and toilets to those in the younger years. Another common question is around how boarding schools manage boys and their use of technology. So you can see just next to me here, we believe that the boys need to learn how to use technology responsibly, and much like in a family home, some of the boys need those boundaries and those guidelines about when they can have access to their mobile phone and also their laptops. So our younger boys are issued with a school laptop, and you can see the cabinet here is used that at the end of each day before the boys go to bed, their laptop is locked away in the cabinet and it charges overnight. And we're also fortunate enough that we have cabinets here where the boys hand their phones in, both during prep time and also before they go to bed at night time, where the phones will be locked away until the next morning when they can have that phone to check their messages again. We also on weekends, because weekends can often be a lengthier period of time, we also manage the boys' use of their technology over the weekend to make sure that they're not spending too much time on that. We're going to head through and have a look at one of our common rooms now. So each boarding house has got a common room, which obviously is for the boys to use and to enjoy. All of the common rooms are fitted out with a kitchenette where boys can cook up some toast and they can enjoy some other food at night and on the weekends. Obviously a TV and various other things to enjoy. So common room is a place where the boys often can be found at night or on weekends just relaxing. And you can also see, we're very fortunate in many of our boarding houses to have an absolutely beautiful outlook. So we're walking out onto the veranda of Boyce Taylor Boarding House. Boys are so lucky to have a space like this to sit out and enjoy. One of the best things about being a boarder is just the time spent with friends and the mateships that develop over time. All of our boarding houses do lots of nice things to try and make our boarding environment more like home. So for example, our Year 7 and 6 boarders who live down in Corfe House, every Saturday night is movie night in the house. So our house mother organises a movie for the boys and they all come in and she's able to spoil them with milkshakes and other nice treats. All of our boarders are really lucky to have a recreation program where they get to experience a wide range of activities and trips. So bus trips down to watch rugby league games in Brisbane, trips to play laser skirmish, and lots of other things that just make the experience so much greater. I also thought it would be well worth explaining what an average day looks like in our boarding houses. So for our boys, wake up time in the morning is at 6:45. So our staff would come through from 6:45 and wake all of the boarders up. The boys would have a shower, they would get dressed in their uniform ready for the day, and then they would meet in one of our common areas for a roll call. And the roll call is really just to check in that everybody's here, pass on any messages for the day, and then the boarding house would go to the dining hall together and have breakfast. At the end of breakfast, they come back to the house and there's always jobs to do in the morning, much like at home. So boys are making their beds, packing their bags, cleaning their teeth, getting ready for the school day. And by 8 o'clock in the morning, the staff are moving the boys on to school and they head off to school. Our boarding houses stay closed through the middle of the day, so the boys are encouraged to go over to school and then to mix with the day students and spend their day at school. At 3 o'clock, when school finishes, the boarders are obviously coming back to their boarding houses, and on most afternoons they've got an organised training session or some other activity they're heading off to. So they've got around about half an hour just to get changed, quickly have some afternoon tea, and then to head off to one of our beautiful ovals or our gymnasium or pool or other activity that they're heading to. And that normally happens between 3:30 and 5:30. And at that point, the boys come back to the boarding houses, have a shower and get changed, ready for the evening, when again we'll have a quick roll call before dinner. And the head of house is able to give any messages and reminders for the boys. And then the house goes to dinner. Straight after dinner, the boys come back, and that's usually when they will make the time to ring home. So for parents, ringing home is still the main method of communication between the boys and home. So after dinner is commonly the time when they would give you a ring. Most parents have finished work for the day, the boys have had dinner, and it's before they're getting busy for the evening, they'll give mum and dad a ring. And then at 7 o'clock, they start their prep time. So across all of our boarding houses, the staff are moving the boys into their prep areas, and it's their opportunity in a quiet, controlled space to have their homework done with that support that I mentioned downstairs. So prep goes from 7 until about 8:45, and then the evening routine winds down where we're getting the boys ready for bed. They're organising for the next day, they're cleaning their teeth, and they're reading a book, and then the lights will go out between 9 and 9:30 depending on the age group of the boys. So I hope that's helped to understand a little bit what a day in the life of a boarder looks like. One of the other great facilities that we have here for our students at Toowoomba Grammar School is our health centre. We have a registered nurse who's on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And their primary role is to care for our boarders. So one of the questions that I often get from boarding parents is, what will happen after hours if my son is really unwell or is injured? We're really fortunate that our nurses are in our health centre all the time, as I mentioned. Even in the middle of the night, a boarder who becomes unwell would wake up their head of house, because the head of house lives attached to the boarding house, and we would work with our nurses. So we would take your son down, the nurses would look after him in the health centre, and would make contact with you the very next morning to explain what's happened and how we're going to help. We're also lucky through our health centre that we have a doctor who visits the school 3 times a week. The doctor comes in at lunchtime and will see boys at our health centre. We also have a physio, and we're fortunate that the physio will also come to the school to treat boys twice a week. So we're really very fortunate that we have our medical staff here who do such a wonderful job of looking after our boys and liaising with parents as well, just in terms of the health and well-being of their son and assisting with any appointments. So that's a great facility that we're lucky to have. Just in closing, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure to show you around Boyce Taylor Boarding House today. As I mentioned when we were live last week, we did have a good look through Corfe Boarding House as well. I know your son would really love being a boarder here, and I'd invite that if you've got any questions, please make contact with the school. Feel free to ask me directly, and I'm happy to help. Thank you.